There are many steps involved in Braille transcription, and former offender Guy Toles mastered them all while incarcerated.
It just was too crazy of a journey for me not to think this was meant to be.
Toles learned Braille while in the Central State Prison program. Now he works for the Center for Inclusive Design and Innovation at Georgia Tech, and he's going on 9 years there. But he says it was another former offender's story that sparked the motivation in him to really pursue the program and all the opportunities it could bring.
But she was telling us about how, she'd been in prison, she got her certification in the prison program, and then, she was working at Georgia Tech. And so I was telling my grandmother about that and told her how much hope that gave me. But I also told my buddies after this person left is that, so that's what I want to do.
Toles says his first interview with Georgia Tech was at the Transition Center, and he had a job just within 2 weeks of his release. He says many of the certifications he earned that separated him from other applicants, he got while incarcerated in Georgia.
All in all, I think about 3 years in a Braille program. I had gotten my first literary certification when we were in Milledgeville. But I was working on the math and science certification at Central and got transferred to Johnson to do the RSET program. They sort of arranged was for me to, during my computer time, to finish out my certifications. That certification, that Nemeth one, was one of the main reasons I was hired here.
Toles says a big part of the success of the Braille programs in Georgia are the coordinators.
They looked at you like you or an individual, a person again. They had confidence in you, and they entrusted work to you.
Now Toles is giving back and starting more Braille programs at other facilities and helping former offenders get a second chance using Braille as a career.
It makes a difference, and it can make a difference in a lot of other lives, and it has, and it's proven that. So working with the programs, helping prepare the ladies in Texas or the ones down in Emanuel.
The first Braille class just graduated in December 2019, and Guy Toles helped them along the way and spoke at their very first graduation.
It allowed me to meld my passion for grammar and language arts, and then just service. And so once I became proficient, I just really fell in love with it, and you discover that I would say it's beyond a skill, it's an art. And it's something that you have to fall in love with.
The offenders say they're learning along with some of the students as they transcribe the textbooks.
It feels good to know that not only am I adding to my value as a human being, I feel like I can finally have the opportunity to give back to the community a little bit when maybe before I was only taking from it.
And so this is your finished product.
They say at the end of the day, it's the feeling of giving back that motivates them.
There's really a person out there that's waiting on that book, and if you do the next year's book from that, you know that person passed their class and that now they're going, on to the next stage. You know that they've accomplished their goal, and then you get to read the book too while you're transcribing it. So it's almost like you're getting the education there with them.
Many of the first class Braille graduates are now moving on to different topics and hoping to eventually get music and crochet transcription certifications.
This means NESS. And then it looks like there's another S there.
Toles has a very similar story to those offenders at Emanuel Women's Facility. He now sits on the board of the National Braille Association and has completely turned his life around and is helping others do the same.
And that's, as you see here, that's what would be called a collage master. And the thermoform copy will go into the textbook. Corrections have to have the programs. We need people to do the work. The individuals need a job when they get out, and they need training. So everybody wins, and they've listened to me and continue to listen to me. It's been a blessing to me, and I just try to pass on that blessing as much as possible.
A blessing that's now being shared with others beyond the walls. Cassandra Ortiz for the Georgia Department of Corrections.